Got you here. Hello, sir.
There it is. How's it
Can you
going?
see me? Oh, I knew it. Maybe something's fishy, dude. That's very strange.
Yeah, I was going
It's
through
been,
checking settings and everything was fine, so I don't know.
yeah,
Who knows? It's IG.
everything was. Well, we're over here. Well, hello, sir. How are you?
Fine,
I,
fine. You?
I'm very well. I've been seeing a lot of people are just growing. I would like to talk about your Oaxacan for a minute. I'd like to
Oh, yeah,
get
sure.
right into it. I'm sure. Would you like to introduce yourself first, or?
Sure, for those who don't know me, you've probably seen, the Defiant Seed. It's just something that kind of taken off on its own.
Yeah.
As far as me, my name is actually Joe, Joseph, Joe. And I don't know,
You've been
done this for a long time and just decided to start showing it off.
when you started breeding your seeds. How long did it take for you to start your Oaxacan strain? What was
Oh,
the? Yeah, I
so
don't.
the Oaxacan actually isn't even done. I mean, that was one seed I was able to come across, and I hung on to it for years. When initially we had a business, like a tier one license
Wow.
before they actually issued any license, and before it was legal. A friend brought up the idea of let's see if we can get a license, and then I hadn't actually been in cannabis for a long time due to jobs I'd been in. I'd actually hadn't smoked. I still don't smoke that much, but just hadn't been back in it.
Yeah.
But this person knew I grew and knew I had worked with the plant, and so it became a three-way partnership, and we filed for a license. And some of the stuff that we were doing, it was like, okay, we need to start collecting genetics, right? Because we need something to put up. We don't want to just be buying random,
Right.
and it's a good thing. And when I started looking, I started asking family, I started asking friends, can you get me something? I need something unique? And I just started collecting
To start
everything I
with.
could. Yeah, just anything and everything I could. Who
Mhm.
knew if it was good or not? It was just like, some, oh yeah, this is the shit. Yeah, well, I'll take it. I don't know if it is. We're gonna find out. And
Yeah, dude. You
so we
never
wanted
know. You
we
never
wanted our
know.
own, right? We wanted our own for this business,
Yeah.
and we just I was like, okay, we're gonna have to put some type of breeding program together. Let's find out what we have. Let's start popping seeds.
Mama
And
Nug.
right, yeah. So this is another thing, right? It wasn't legal yet, but we had to start doing this,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, we're just gonna have to take the chance. And it was like, start looking through these seeds, start cloning, start selecting, and it was a huge dig, a rabbit hole. Genetics is a rabbit
Yeah.
hole. You start looking into it, right?
I
But
imagine.
there's some basics there, and we started laying out a plan, and we at least tried to stabilize one or two plants, right, that we could call our own, and then
Oh,
that's where it started.
oh boy.
Just started blooming from there. Before you know it, we had to. We actually started writing a program, a computer program, kind of putting one together. We hadn't fully developed it because there was nothing out there at the time. This
Right.
is
I'm
in
assuming this is back in the day.
yeah, we still didn't have anything, right? You couldn't just look it up, and
Right. 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 Right.
there wasn't
Right.
anything available. Now I'm sure there's companies out there that will profit off you for doing this, right? They help you put your genetics together and do a whole breeding program for you. They got everything to do it, the tools,
Yes.
sampling, the whole bit. But we didn't have anything,
Thank God.
and it was still manual writing it all out, right? And as far as genetics go and making crosses in cannabis, we're not really doing huge plots. We're not doing thousands of plants. We're only
Right.
capable of doing so much, and especially when it wasn't legal, we were taking a chance
Scary
doing
shit. That's
a few
scary.
hundred plants. Right? Yeah. So popping 100 seeds, and then you don't know if it's even going to be legal or what you're doing is even going to be able to be
It's
put
like,
out there.
whether you like you are you're working to not know what you're working for. You know,
Yeah,
it's a
you don't
chance.
know. You're taking that chance, right? You're taking that chance. Like anything you do, you don't know until you try. And if you don't try, well, it never happens. So it was like hashtag be defiant. We're going to do this,
I
right? We're
know
going to
that's
do it
right.
anyway.
That's where the
But
name
that
comes
wasn't
from.
that actually the Defiant Seed wasn't the name of the business that we had. That was just one that I thought of, and I hung on to it. And when you start thinking of these things, you write down all the different names you come up with, and what you want to focus on. And
Yeah.
honestly, it was more of a woman-owned business. All right, I had the two partners were women,
Really?
and yeah, so I was the third partner, and I just stayed pretty much in the
That's
background, right?
dope. That's kind of dope. Like in the
Yeah,
business
and
sense.
that's the thing. In that beginning, there weren't a lot of female growers, a lot of female
Yeah.
owners, business owners still, right?
That's right.
And this is something, one of those business decisions. It's like, no, that's a good thing. We should definitely run with that and make it a woman-owned business sort of deal, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So
Why not?
that's what we did there. We focused on that, and we did these. We started writing out this program for breeding to track what we were doing, and then eventually it did become legal, and some of this all went into the metric system, and then it had to be logged, right? We were allowed to at
Yeah.
least bring it in because they're like, where you get your stuff, right? So when it happened, we were able to like bring everything in and log it in, which in a way was kind of a mistake because
Everything like us,
now it
like every
becomes
seed.
every seed. Yeah.
What
So
they
what we did by
they make it
bulk, we actually weighed
say
it by bulk. We weighed out so many seeds
holy
and then
shit.
did a basic weight count, right? Like, okay, 10 seeds weigh this much, 100 seeds weigh this much. Put a bag on the scale. Okay, this is how many seeds we have, and then the basics of it, it's all logged into the system. Now I don't know if it's different. This is the early days, right? So I don't know
For the
how it is
government,
now.
you were doing that for the government? Like
Yeah,
like
well, for
they're making
metric,
you do it?
yeah, yeah, you had to
Oh my
track
God.
everything. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and I'm
Okay, I didn't know they were talking about seeds
yeah,
too.
everything had to be tracked, right? So that was the whole forethought of actually trying to gain seeds and find seeds, and that's where the Oaxacan came in. I came across one seed. It was from the '60s, supposedly, right? And
Boy,
but there's documentation with it,
Harry
so
Nug.
there's stories and documentation with it. And so it was like, okay, I got one seed. I'm going to hang on to this thing. And I don't know if it's good. It's the same story. I don't know if it's good or not. It's supposed to be, right? I
Oh
didn't
my.
know if it was going to sprout. Didn't know if it was going to be viable. And I decided, well, back up a little bit. Some of these seeds, everything that was in the system had to be destroyed when we closed out the business because, life happens, right? I think
Destroyed.
I just caught the end of a bit of your conversation earlier about either partnerships, things happen, things divide, right?
Yes.
So that partnership, a lot happened. Life was taking us different ways, and we weren't focusing on the business. So we
Gotcha.
basically turned in the license, and when we did that, they came out and they watch you destroy everything, product,
Oh
seeds,
God.
all of that has to be destroyed. Yeah, you're not allowed
Dude,
to keep any of it.
that's
However, some of this
insane.
stuff, luckily, was kept, not in the system, but brought out through whatever means.
Oh, the
And
government is they're diabolical.
right,
They're
right, they got the money and all
diabolical.
the experience to do whatever pretty much they
So
want.
it's basically like you got your license, but we still don't want you doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to make you destroy it afterward. Like
Yeah, it's
that's a bit
control. Yeah,
much.
it's control.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
bit
control.
much. So anywho,
Yeah,
continue.
so a lot of genetics we lost. Um, but a good majority we kept. That was one that was able to stay, and I just hung on to it. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna since the business went down, and I was basically had all this stuff set up in a building, and I didn't know what I was doing with it, and I hated not growing, right?
Right.
So my wife's like, you should get on this thing. It's called Instagram, which I'm not
Shout
a
out to your
huge
wife, dude.
techie, right? So my wife's like, get on there and show what you do, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess,
You kind of
posted a
iffy
couple
about it.
things. Yeah, I had no idea actually what it was, so I'm like checking it out, and yeah, from there it started going, and I didn't know what to post, what to talk about. There's so much, so as time goes on, you begin to meet more people finally, right?
Yeah,
Same industries, growers, growers, and you talk.
absolutely.
And
It
it
took
started
you.
taking
It
its
took you
own direction. So, you
absolutely.
know, eventually it got around to like, I'm going to crack this seed on here and show, somewhat the process of what I would do
Yes.
or what others would do as well. in order to
You're
to
a
breed this plant out.
phenomenal grower, dude. You grow some
Oh,
serious stuff in deep water culture. Your buds are crisp. They are
thank
so
you.
frosty, dude. It's amazing. What about that Oaxacan seed made you stick to that seed? Was it
Uh,
the first if it was one seed, was it male or female?
no, it turned out to be a female.
Oh,
Uh,
lucky,
yeah,
lucky, lucky.
either way, the same process would happen what I'm doing now, and that's a type of back cross.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more happy that it was a female. You can see what it looked like and everything. And that was more of a preservation and trying to find very old genetics. And,
Everyone says you're amazing. I'm sorry. I'm
no,
just giving you your flowers.
thank you
You're
guys. I
fine.
can't
You're
see
a
without
beast.
glasses. So.
You're a beast. I see you writing everything down, these numbers and these logs,
Right.
and it's
Documentation, document everything. Yeah. Mess ups, things you forgot, write it in,
what is
whatever it
your
is.
IQ?
I,
You ever know?
I don't know. It's probably not that great.
I
It's just a
doubt
matter of studying
it.
everything, right?
Yeah, you're pretty smart. You're very down to the detail. You going in deep water culture or
Yeah,
hydroponics or
it
how
is deep water culture. Yeah. DWC or
man.
RDWC. I do have a system set up, to recirculate, but I'm not running it at the, I don't have enough plants. I don't have the space I once had, so it's just a couple buckets. It's not a problem. I just change them out.
Yeah, I see what you do. You grow your plants sometimes small, sometimes huge, sometimes big. Sometimes it varies for what you're doing. And I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Is there a difference between I've grown the red weasel, smoked it, amazing. Family smoked it, amazing. I've grown the Lebanese Oaxacan, amazing. So
Awesome.
these the Lebanese Oaxacan. What made you
Okay.
give it the
So,
Lebanese?
so the Lebanese was another older seed that I come across, and they came out of a personal garden. That these plants, they don't look like the other Lebanese you see nowadays. Like they're not very sativa looking, and well, they kind of have that look, but they're not bigger plants. In fact, they're really squat and short and
Yes,
bushy, right?
yes.
And they pack on. They don't really pack on a lot of like huge flowers. There's really thin and kind of sparse in a way inside each other, but
Hmm.
the bracts are spread out. They're kind of fluffy.
Yeah.
But it was another one I just wanted to show off something from the old stuff we collected because what am I going to do with it? So I started growing it to show what it looked like. There's not these kind of plants around anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was the idea behind it.
It's
But
very different.
during the
I
preservation of
go ahead.
but during the preservation of the Oaxacan, I had that plant in there, so it just got pollinated, and that's where that cross came from. They're very
Oh
similar, other than
yeah.
being smaller. It's very similar to the Oaxacan.
I've grown it. That diesel Oaxacan is a nice gassy. It grows very nice. In the beginning, you can almost tell like the leaves they want to grow on top of each other from like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, stacks really well. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, and a lot of people grow your stuff. When you when you when you departed from your company, what was it that made? Did you still want to go on in the back of your mind, or did you have plans to
It
continue?
was limbo. It was really limbo. I'm like, well, I got all this equipment,
Yeah.
right? And I personally
Oh,
do love the plant. I love growing it. In fact, the whole idea behind the Defiant seed is about the plant and people
hmm.
that, you know, fought for the plant, you know, people out there that kept it around. And that's why I looked for those seeds. Even now, I have some people, bring me seeds. Hey, I saved this from, and they'll send it to me. And, I'm very fortunate that they'll, share stuff with me. And they're like, can you do something with it? But it's more, that's really what that name kind of derived from for me was saving these older genetics. The plant's been around forever. I think we had talked about it before, power to the
Yeah,
plant. The plant, the plant people have tried to take it down, governments tried to take it down, and
absolutely.
the plant's still around. It's that meme of, billions of dollars spent fighting the plant still winning, right?
Yeah, they're gonna. What's happening now is something I never thought I'd see. It seems like it is getting more and more prevalent, and it's more visible everywhere I
Right.
turn. And I
Yeah.
cannot. say that I am not thrilled to see dispensaries. It's just a fact of it being
Yeah.
allowed to be open, and it's just the little things. When
Yeah.
you're not, that's what the defiant seed comes from. Your seeds pop out that dirt, bro, and the germination state is never. I've never had problems germinating your seeds, man. Are these all feminized lines, or do you have
No,
some?
no, no, not all of them. No. Um,
How many strains did you make? Not that I
so
want any. I want to know about you, Defiant man. You're very interesting.
yeah, so during the days of the business we had, there are probably 50 solid lines, but those were done over years, like over a
Holy
short,
dog.
short period of years in order to put those together. And those still haven't been hunted. Like I don't know what's in them. I know that they're they're pretty solid for what, we were kind of trying to achieve
Yeah,
and goals that were set for the type of plant and what it would do. You kind of touched a little bit on this earlier, and that's like when you're looking for how the plants grow, right?
yeah.
People talk about they'll run a plant and they're like, oh, it grows this way. You got to actually run a plant like 5, 6 times one way,
Damn,
or shorten its, like run it and
so
shorten its
much
veg
time.
time, right? If you run and shorten its veg time, maybe you'll find out that it stretches, so you'll want to shorten up that veg time. Or if you want something larger and it's not a stretcher, you need to run it longer in veg, right, and gain that size out of it. And then there's
So you can
also
get it bigger,
what's that?
even though genetic. You can grow it. The strain that's probably won't, as you said, get that big. You can veg it longer and make it get bigger.
Yeah, sure.
Even
That's the
even if the plant is genetically not that
right.
way to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. In most cases, yeah, you can take and just
Serious.
leave that light on 24 hours, and that plant will just keep stretching out, keep branching, depending, on genetics. But yeah, yeah, you can
A
keep
lot
doing that.
a lot of people say, well, I hear a lot of things, so I'm just gonna ask. Having the plant on 24 hours doesn't stress it out. There's like it's not like natural. I don't know. So it won't hurt it. You've done it, right?
Yeah. So I run an 18-hour cycle.
Hmm.
You can run it on a 24-hour, and it doesn't bother the plant. It will just keep growing, believe it or not.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
That's
a plant
I got to
should go through its processes, I believe, right? And there's different science you can read about now. It's all out on the internet. That's like we were talking earlier. There's a lot more information out there now. But yeah, you can actually put a plant under 24 hours of light, and it will just keep growing. Yeah.
what was your best plant your most impressive plant that you've ever grown? What is the strain that you've created that you just I
Oh,
got them
it wasn't
all.
even
I grow
one
your
that
shit.
sticks with me. I didn't ever create, but
Shout out what's up, buds. Sorry.
when I was younger and didn't know better, I had a Thai seed, and I sprouted one out of like a small handful. I got one to sprout, but where I was living, it was super cold and short season. Had no idea about what I was growing, and put it outside. That thing stretched huge, right? And it had these really thin, long buds. I mean, they were sparse, like barely anything with them. But the color on it, it turned purple and had all these beautiful colors in it, reds, and it was
Ooh.
pretty to look at. And I was
Hmm.
like, wow, this is done. Well, then it started snowing, and the plant was pretty much done. And still, I didn't know anything about it. I was young. I took the plant down, dried, and yeah, smoked it. One hit, and I was like, seriously, it felt like I had dropped acid. I mean, I was
Oh,
like, all of a sudden things were,
oh my.
yeah, I was like, what the hell,
Group for the whole term?
Yeah, like things would move. I was like, wow, that kicked fast, right? And it kicked hard in the head, very trippy high, and that one has always stuck with me. I wish I had them seeds because that was an awesome plant. I mean, it
Yeah,
it wasn't meant to grow where it was. It did okay, um,
that's impressive.
but it was
Your
one of my most memorable from very young.
your 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 strains are very potent. Do you know that, right? They hit. They get you geeked. Me,
Some definitely,
the
yeah.
red
Others are
diesel.
more
Mm.
like just for relaxing. They're pretty mellow. There's some that are pretty mellow,
They're pretty.
but yeah, like
Yeah,
BC can hit. Sometimes it has, you'll find one in there in those batches that really hits hard.
the BC pungent too. I've grown that.
Yeah,
I've grown the red diesel, the Lebanese 2 times rocking photo femme. I got more in there. I keep yours is in the rotation. I try to get them big. What was really interesting about the seeds. What was it? What was it? The Lebanese rocking photo femme and maybe not the red diesel, not the BC pungent. It was the other one. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Uh, but it's so squat. It's so short. But I low stress train it and pull it out. It gets wider and not shorter, but just like, and then it comes up. It's in my tent right now, but it's short, but I can see it's stacking. The buds are like actually stacking. And I think that's the one that you were talking about, saying that it doesn't produce, not produce much, or we were just talking about it.
Yeah,
It was short and
Lebanese, probably a Lebanese cross. Even the
dude,
Lebanese Oaxacan is like that. It took on that low stature, really short stacking. In fact, I happen to have it
that's
here.
what it's doing. It's not really stretching. It's just
Yeah,
stacking where it is.
they're a little bush for sure.
That's amazing. Dude. Look at this.
They're short,
Ooh,
squat, and just stack. Right? They just keep stacking.
watch.
I don't know if you'll be
That's
able to
gonna
see
put
it, but
on
I
some
brought one out just so we
weight.
could.
That is beautiful. I don't know what is it safe to ask what this is crossed? What did you do? Where did this come from? It's some potent shit, man. I
Costco,
don't want you. I
man.
don't want you to give all your no secrets or nothing that you don't want to talk about. You're just a
I don't have a
fascinating
problem really
character.
talking about anything. These are, again, some of it came from people me asking. Like, I actually had like this little garden thing I wrote. It was actually just a story thing. What the hell was that called? Google had it. I forget what it was. But anyway, I started a little like whatever it was story. I wrote out stories, right? Well, looking through some of these stories, there was I come across like an Asian guy, right? And he had a picture. Like YouTube was so, but I noticed way in the background, I spotted a plant, right? I'm like, is that canvas this guy's growing, or is it just wild where he's at? So I
Yeah.
actually wrote him. I'm like, hey, I've seen something, in one of your videos, and you never know how to approach, but it's like, and I'm just very interested in this, and I just wondered if you'd be interested in sharing seed, straight out, and I got a reply. It was yes, would love to, and
Oh, sweet.
right. So all I did was send my address, and boom, yeah, they came, and I never ever got to even thank that guy. The accounts, went down because of Google taking shit down. They were changing stuff
Oh
up.
man.
Right, yeah. So and then I wish there wasn't an address, so I couldn't reply in any way, right? So, but that's just how I got some of this,
Dude, he
and
started you off, dude. That's fire, dude. You noticed that from in his video? That's a
yeah,
good
we got eyes. We know
that's a
what
good eye,
you'd be
dude. I was
driving, you'd be
gonna
like,
say.
hey, oh yeah, right. Yeah, we know
Sometimes
what it looks like.
I'm scared. Sometimes I'm scared of Instagram. I don't even feel like safe for all of us. I don't
Yeah,
even feel safe for us here.
yeah,
I feel like they're just the way they're on us. Why even let us do it? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you're just like,
yeah.
until we
We bring the
yank you
numbers
back.
to him, man.
Yeah, we're gonna find it. I'll put it on Facebook, TikTok. I don't
That's
care. We
something
gotta keep this
I always
alive.
see. A little bit of a rant here. The people,
Go
oh, I'm
for
going
it.
to YouTube.
No,
Just don't ever forget what YouTube did to everybody.
bro.
They wiped out videos left and right, and a lot of people
Yeah,
lost their content. Right?
yes, sir.
Kind of
Yeah,
kind of sucks. That irks me. That kind of thing. But that's the chance we take on other people's platforms. So
that's right. That's right on. Let me tell you something. My last co-host, you guys may have saw, not Jay. I don't want to name his name, but I he was obsessed with going to YouTube. I'm like, there's no traction there. Like I got 1,000 subscribers, but nothing happens there. I see certain platforms and pages do very well there, like 6-figure views.
yeah,
But that's never been the case there. Like I didn't meet everybody there. I met all of you guys that find here. Like I'm most comfortable here.
yeah,
Like, and I just love interviewing you guys, and I've learned here. I watched weed videos back in the day, but I never did the craft from YouTube. Here, I watch you guys do it. I see you guys growing deep water culture. I don't even know. I'm so green to this, literally, that I don't know. I don't know if deep water culture and hydroponics is different or the same. Then there's a splash. Then there's the cocoa. Probably what you're growing in. Like, it's a lot of stuff that you guys are hands on. Where YouTube is almost like watching TV.
Yeah,
Here, it's real.
it's
You know?
very monetized lately too. Too many commercials.
Oh my God. And they won't monetize our stuff, so why would I go there? No one's gonna see it. They're gonna make sure no one sees
Yeah.
it. Am I wrong?
I mean, there's some people do really well on it. It's not for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just not for me. In fact, even Instagram's kind of, sometimes I'm
Yeah,
like, I
dude, I
don't know if
was
I want to
scared.
keep doing this,
I
but
remember.
I just do it for a hobby. So.
I remember your page. I couldn't. I couldn't tag you in certain
Oh
videos that I was
yeah.
running your
So
post. I
yeah,
was
I
like, what?
was
Remember when I was like, oh, thank God you're back. Remember when
more or
that
less
when you
blocked
messaged?
for a while. Yeah, I don't know if somebody was reporting me or I don't know what the deal was, but yeah, I couldn't do anything with that. In fact, it was down. Like I couldn't log on. I would try to log on, couldn't log on. When I
Oh,
did get on,
wow.
I couldn't comment, and it was like comments restricted. I couldn't, I just couldn't do anything. So it was like, all right, I'll just wait it out. Well, I'd log on, and boom, instantly be kicked out. I just couldn't get
Something.
on, and that's when I have that other account. I think you're on that, right? So I would look, and I'm like, well, it's there, but I
Yeah.
couldn't even do anything to it. Like you said, you were trying to see the account, couldn't.
I was like,
Same for me
what
on my separate
happened?
account. Yeah, I have no idea, but it was
That
down
was
for a while. Like,
listen. That was crazy. And I've seen a lot of accounts. The family cannabis tree he disappeared. Like, he's gone. I don't know if you know him. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's
I said I do talk to him off and on, just his
where?
little memes.
Where's his page?
As far as I know, it's still up. I haven't seen today, but I think it is.
A lot of weird stuff is
Yeah,
happening, dude. You know what's crazy? They actually have control over our accounts, bro.
yeah. I
And
mean,
when you think
that's what
about
we
it,
agree to when we log on, though. This is their it's their house. We're in it.
yeah, it
We just
is. Do
we do
you
what we can.
do you think when the United States federally legalizes cannabis, the social media platforms will let up, or will they always be like this?
I think there's always going to be some discrimination due to groups. There's always
Yes,
somebody, trying to force somebody else's hand on no matter what it is, any type of issue, right? There'll always be something. There's always going to be something.
yeah. Shout out Jay. Shout out Jay. Hold on, we're like we're deep in the midst of these things. Pat, so and you've grown. You don't. You said you don't like to get your hands dirty, and that's
Oh,
cool. And I respect that, bro. But what you do in deep water culture is absolutely crazy. But
thanks. Yeah.
when you're growing in deep water culture, how many times are you having to check this water? How much are they
Oh,
drinking?
I don't. Um,
You
and
don't
I'll
check your
drain.
water.
I don't check anything. It's pretty much set. I mean, again, that took years to figure out, but that's actually a recipe that I had help making from. So during that time with the business, let's kind of go back again. The
Yes,
It was trying all the different nutrients around, right, and trying to see what worked best and what was, trying to figure out what we want to use and cost effective. That's the other thing. Everybody wants to be a master grower, but I'll tell you what,
shit.
you get into it, and then there's costs, there's SOPs, there's pesticide handling. You got, all this stuff
Overheads
that
and
you got.
stuff.
Yeah, you
That's
got
like a
to start
business. This
tracking
is an
all this
actual
stuff,
thing.
right? Yeah, and the cost of every input. So
Wow,
yeah, there's
that's a
all
lot.
that. So uh, now I got lost on the question. What was
It's
the question?
not easy. I think I said asked about the deep water culture. I think you said. I
Oh,
said
the recipe.
the
Yeah,
water.
so
Yeah, 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 yeah.
working that out, the uh, one of the basic ones that worked really well was a basic three-part fertilizer, hydroponic fertilizer, and some CalMag. It had the best growth real quick, but it lacked big time in like
Hold
flavors
on.
and
Define,
smells.
I'm
It just
lost.
didn't.
I'm lost. Hold on. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. A deep water culture fertilizer. You mean
Yeah,
nutrients?
liquid salt
Oh,
fertilizer. You know,
okay. Yeah, I thought soil. Let's go. I'm
synthetics.
sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I
not soil.
apologize.
So I did run soil. We did run soil, but the speed and performance wasn't there for the soil. I
Mm-hmm.
know that's different, but we were a small grow. In fact, we were like the second smallest tier one in Oregon at the time.
Ooh.
So it was more about we needed to make numbers because shops weren't accepting us under a certain amount. And then there was like the flip of soil. Well, I can flip open a drain and drain something out, right? Faster than I can be flipping soil and replanting. And
That's right. Yeah,
I mean, things have
soil's not
changed and
easy,
methods changed,
and
but
it's money.
for
You
me,
know,
that's what I wanted to do. That was the quickest, and that's what the three of us agreed on what we would
Hy-
do.
hydroponics, dude.
Yeah,
That's
hydroponics.
it's impressive how y'all make those plants grow like that fast.
Right.
I'm jealous.
It, it's
If
it's
anything, I'm just like Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's all about the numbers. It really is. Like everybody knows about VPD. When your VPD is on, same thing. When your soil is on, you got everything there for it to take. Your
true.
environment's right. Everything. When you get it all lined up, you get that growth. You get the same growth in soil. Really, honestly, you can. Um,
Your
Personally, it's just
buds
not
are
something soil I
crazy
don't like
looking.
messing with.
Your stuff is some of the frostiest, chunkiest, and I'm not no ego here, stroking your ego or nothing like that. But I'm telling you, your weed looks good. There's some of the best looking stuff on the Instagram, and
Thank
I'm
you.
not lying. That's why you're so big, and a lot of people are growing your stuff, dude. How does that feel? How does that feel? And
That's actually
not only they're
crazy.
growing it, they're accepting it. Hmm?
It's different. It's crazy, especially starting out not knowing what I was going to do with the page. Right? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
People want to see this. I don't know.
it's turned
But
into merch.
yeah, yeah. That was a bigger thing. I was like, oh, you get these ideas. I'm going to monetize this for myself and make some merch.
Yeah, that's
Right. So
right.
then I had all this overhead, bunch of sweaters and shirts, hats, and I'm like, okay, this isn't
I
my
know
kind of
that's not
thing.
expensive. That's
Yeah,
expensive.
it's work. And then so I still have like the bongs. I'll still make a sweater here and there. For you, I got yours. I got your stuff set out. I'm going to be making it,
Shout
be
out to
shipping it out.
you, Defiant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
your hoodies are badass, dude. I'm gonna walk around town with this and that hat with the D. Your shit is black, and your D is fire. The D is fire. I've
thank
seen
you.
I've seen some girls wearing your hoodies too. The fucking logo on that black is
Right.
badass, bro.
It stands out
It
good.
looks
Yeah.
so good.
Well,
I would
thank
rock
you.
that. Thank you for even. I won a giveaway, dude. I almost did a backflip in my couch. I was like, "What a Defiant hoodie!" Like I don't. This is why I don't ask for things. Like I feel like if I put in the work, people will notice, and if they tag me in something, I'll tag like Jay and Rower and like four other people, and I got goosebumps right now. Talking the cannabis community is
Yeah,
awesome, dude. If
they
you
are.
if you're coming
I owe it
in
to
with
those
love,
people that actually take the chance on me. Honestly,
man,
you,
it's well
thanks to you
taken.
too. I mean, more people that we get out and see,
Yeah,
what we're doing,
bro. You're
right?
one of the more serious ones. Shout out
Uh,
to you, Defiant. Dude, you do your bro. I have never heard one thing bad about your genetics. And I've seen so many people grow them. They
they,
and
they've
I've
they've had problems. I have had some that have like shown intersex traits, right? Some that
real.
never happened to me, right? I'm like,
Not me.
well, so there was a couple of when I put out, and they were supposedly solid lines that we grew out too, right? No, they late flower showed bananas. I was like, son of a gun. And there were, I don't know, 50 different people that were growing these, but one or two had it. So it
Right.
was like, all right, I need to sprout these myself, and then
That it
just
doesn't
start
sound
stressing them
that
out.
doesn't sound right. Only one out of like 50 people were like that doesn't sound right.
But
I
you would
personally
think, right? But
I personally think
I
I switched up my
yeah,
plants.
I popped
Smoking do it
10
all the time.
and just started stressing them out. And I had two that did it. So that
Yeah.
right there is like, well, that line, I can't give those seeds out anymore. impossible to do anything with those. I definitely will save them. I mean,
Because
genetics are
the
still
trait,
genetics
it's because
until
in
we
the seed.
figure out how to either, put a cap on the allele or whatever it is that's going to block that from happening, or breed
Oh,
it out of
what?
the line. That
Okay.
we still can hang on to the genetics. That's the thing. Don't if you have something old, special, definitely hang on to it. But don't. I couldn't give it out. Can you're gonna pollinate somebody's growth. They're gonna be pissed off with you. We see that
No,
happen all the time.
that's right.
Yeah. So I didn't hand out any more of those. Those are taken down. So it has happened to me. I mean, just being honest, it had. That shit can happen. So, but
I
everything else has
flowered
been
out
pretty
your
stable.
stuff.
I've been pretty blessed. You know.
Yeah, dude, I flowered out your stuff a lot, man, and I've got a lot of weed off of those. Oh, I'm so excited in the flower tent right now, but I've never seen anything but pistols and yours grow. For me, I don't know if that's true, Divine. I don't really. I'm not trying to. A lot of people don't say things, and everyone's they give love from what I've seen. I've seen at least 7 pages growing your stuff, and
Yeah.
what they've produced. It's not,
Yeah.
and
Well, thanks to
somehow
everybody.
whatever
Really, I
you're doing,
appreciate it big time. I do.
it's got to be a way that it's whatever you're doing. Your strains are frosty, right? But coming out of that deep water culture or whatever the deep water culture, duh, I can literally tell with my eyes the quality. Not not even dry. When you get your shears and you cut it, I'm like, first off, look at the stalk. It's massive,
Yeah, I like stocky plants. Uh,
man.
to go back to that,
Yeah.
we were talking about the feed, and so I had help with that a little bit with that during that time, and I was working out, trying to figure out a recipe to run as far as a feed goes for the hydroponic, and we would send in labs, get lab reports back, and
Hmm.
you some of the numbers weren't there, and like I said, it was kind of weak on some of the smells. They smelled great, but when it dried up, there was nothing. Like you hear that a lot, right? I was like,
It
well,
happens a lot.
yeah, it does. And the thing is at the time there were no organic type of available fertilizers really to run straight hydroponic. And that in the earth, everything really boosts all the terpene profiles, it boosts your
Oh yeah,
numbers. We already know that. We know that, right?
endless, endless
So
supply of nutrients
so
in the ground.
companies I would reach to, I'm like, hey, I want an organic fertilizer, and they're like, yeah, we don't do that. Well, I want to do this, and well, we don't do that. Everything.
Damn.
Will this work in this? No, that won't work. It was constantly, yeah, we tried it, but then it clogs up everything. And I'm like, okay,
Oh
well,
yeah,
did you try it in
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I just constantly battering because that's what I wanted. I'm like, there's got to be a way to do this,
Mhm.
and it was just a matter of staying over it on it. And this is where I came down to organs only. Their nutrients is what I use, along with this
Organs
three,
only.
yeah, organs or nectar for the gods. It's organs only, and they're already digested products, so most of them are already readily available for the plant, right? Most of them,
Yeah.
but once uh, once I started adding some of these different organics, we started seeing things pop up. Like there were higher, CBD numbers, right, in the plant where we ran 4 or 5 crops of the same thing. Like we're talking, 12 clones, all the same thing, turning them in for the lab results. Well, once
Damn.
the organics hit, we started seeing different numbers. Well, then it was a couple of years of figuring out what was driving the numbers and how far could we take those numbers or back. Right? And we've seen some get worse, but it was a matter of whittling out all those different recipes and coming down to a recipe, or all the different products and coming down to a recipe. So from the beginning, earlier, with a basic feed, we would say we had a 13% THC, right? Just let's go with this. We had a 13% THC in this line that was sampled over and over and over through the runs. But by honing in on these organics, we were able to raise the points by like 4 to 5 points. Like, yeah, that's a huge jump. And the
God.
only thing it came from was from the organics, right?
Yeah.
And there's no recipes for this at the time. It's pretty much just winging it, trying things over, document it.
Yeah.
That's why you see me document it, because you got to document everything.
Yeah. You're
You can't forget. You're
meticulously
gonna forget.
amazing with that.
So that's where this come in. We started seeing higher trichome count. So even though it was the same plant, and you think, oh yeah, this is pretty frosty,
Organics,
and
right?
yeah, so you take a bract and you start
Yeah.
counting all the trichomes on these bracts, and you're
Yeah.
getting like, 80, 90 trichome locations per bract on an average, right? You end up counting all these. Well, after organics, it went up into the hundreds. And then we were also seeing them on different parts of the plant that didn't produce before. Now, this is the same clone, right? Because that's what you have to do. You have to go through this. So
Oh,
it's the same plant being cloned over and over. And this is where you start to see these things that increase. It takes time. It took time.
amazing. Was
But
it
that's it. I
good?
mean, genetics definitely, you always hear genetics play the part. This is true. But the total potential in them genetics, it takes time to find what can actually be done with it. I mean, nutrient companies now do this. We are seeing way more organic products on the line, on the markets. That wasn't available to us. It was very few and far between. In fact, I had contact Scott of Oregon's Only, the owner, and asked him, about running it. And he's all, yeah, it's not meant for that. He goes, I don't know
Uh,
what to tell you. It's not, we don't deal in hydroponics, which it's like, all right. But I
what?
had tried all the other, different products, and everything kept bringing me back to that. I started getting results out of that. Yeah, I had some huge messes trying to figure out my nutrient feed. But once it was stable, that was by accident. I got mad one day and just because the pH kept dropping out, and I dumped a bunch of lime into the system. Right, pH
Yeah.
was like 9, 9.5, and I totally expected plants to
Yo,
be dead. They weren't
Chris,
doing well
dude.
anyway. Next day, plants were alive. They were praying. I'm like, what the hell? So check the pH, and it was like down in the eights. I'm like, why did that happen? Right, and then went back, documented, wrote out what I did. And I had a lot of precipitate or a lot of product that was in the liquid fall out, right? It was down laying in the bottoms of a lot of the buckets. So there
Yeah.
was definitely a lockout that happened. So then it was a matter of figuring out, okay, well, my mixture just isn't right. Whatever it is, I need to reformulate whatever is happening. And it became 12 samples, and then just slightly barely adding anything to each one and running each one with one nutrient difference. If it was 1 mil of
Oh
this,
my
2 mils of that, 3 mils.
God, dude.
Yeah,
The
and it was
precision, the
tedious.
dedication.
Yeah, tedious. But in the end, I still run that, and that's what I still use. I don't use anything else. The same
My,
recipe. I change it and I'll mess with it, but it always comes back to the same thing. And my pH runs somewhere around 7 on average.
really?
You know,
You're growing
yeah,
your water pH?
yeah, and that's
And that, go
usually
ahead.
everybody's like, running in the 5s to 6s, but I'm in the higher 6, 7 range
That,
due to the organics.
no way.
Yeah,
I
and a
was,
lot of people haven't believed that, and I'll go grab a pH meter and show them. Also the feed is very low compared to most feeds. Like you hear ECs of like 1 point something to like 3, right? And my EC is usually point point 0.8, 0.8 on an EC.
I hope
It's like
everybody hears this.
800 parts per million max. I can run less, but some plants, require more. So
I've never heard anybody saying they grow the water pH at 7. Or would you say, and
yeah,
and they thrive? Well,
you
maybe
see what they
it
do.
makes you
Yeah,
it makes you think, are you doing something wrong? To me, it makes me think like, I'm gonna try. Not now in the flower time. I'm gonna play around with that, dude. I'm not operating at your level, but I'm just gonna play with a plant. I'm gonna pick a plant, grow it just a little bit, and just
That's the way to
that's
do it.
amazing.
That's the way to do it. And you don't need anything large. This is the thing. Everyone wants to grow a big plant, but you can do a bunch of small clones and then sample each one in cups or, little buckets, 1 gallons, do like whatever. You don't need a large thing to do that and do your sampling. But again, and then I had, like I said, I had help contacting the lab that we were getting these results. And I asked the guy, I said, there's something I want to do, and I want to know if you can help me with this with your lab. I want to take samples out of my water, and I want to do it at certain times and run these samples. Can you do that? And he's like, oh yeah, we can. Let me put you with the lab manager, right? Well, I started explaining to the lab manager. I'm like, okay, I have this idea, and I still haven't seen this out there really. I've seen things similar to it, but I have this idea, and I want to take and either have a probe set up that can pull, and sample every like so often, right? So many, whatever it's going to take. But I want to be able to send in samples, and the guy's like, I know what you're saying. Um, we can't do that. But he goes, I know somebody that's probably going to want to talk to you. Can I introduce you to,
Nah,
I'm like, yeah, sure. He was like, yeah, there's this guy. I'm pretty sure he'll want to talk to you. And so I don't know, a couple days, I get a call. This guy's name is Chris. He is a formulator for fertilizer companies.
oh my
So basically,
God.
he's a scientist, more or less, and knows, And I'm explaining this thing. I'm like, so this is what I've done. This is what I'd like to do. And he's all, oh yeah. He's like, definitely. That sounds interesting. We talked some more about it. Pretty soon, he's like, I have somebody else I want you to talk with. So there's this other guy. His name's Dave. He calls back. I don't know. It was about half hour, somewhere around there. He calls back, and this guy is a bioengineer because I was explaining what I wanted to do in the bucket in the DWC. So I wanted a sampler, and this is stuff I just learned, had the idea of from places I've worked. Right, I've worked in some labs, nothing technical,
I
but
knew
seen
it. The
I've
way
seen the
the way
machinery.
you log your stuff, I knew it. Go ahead. I knew it. Not a lab per se, but something meticulous. Like you're very precise, organized. Continue. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to have this is very similar to a sampler. Like they have block, things now you can plug into a block and it tells your EC and takes a reading. Well, I wanted to do this with the water, but I wanted also to connect probes to the plant and take readings from the plant, continuity readings, and see what processes would happen when you change chemicals or when the environment changes during parts of the day, right?
Oh my god.
So I started
Oh
explaining
my
this to
god.
him, and you know, they definitely gave me pointers on what I could do with the liquid and, you know, uh, different combinations that I should try. And basically, that's what I did. And that's how I came about making the recipe that I use. It's nothing super technical. It's just a matter of getting it broken down, getting organics broken down to where they're available for the plant, and then having the right micro, microbes or whatever you're going to use to help it be available. And that's where that came from. And then that's when we started seeing the numbers. And yeah, so I had help. I can't take all the credit for that for sure.
You guys, you wonder why I asked you your IQ. You can just tell people who are resonating at that frequency and intellectual one. I've talked to a lot of people, Defiant, and you guys are all smart in your own areas, but I knew it. Why do you think I asked about your IQ? You're
I have no idea.
smart as hell. I knew it. Go ahead. I respect that because I graduated from college, but I respect your mind a
Well,
lot.
thank you.
Yeah.
I did not go to college. So
All the more amazing. It's like a savant, dude.
did
Like it's not easy doing what you do.
I hung out in a college dorm for about 6 months and then they caught on to me and kicked me out. So that's the closest I've got to college. Was in there making sales. So yeah, just hanging out, chilling. That was.
Oh my God, dude. I didn't expect to hear that. That's all. You so
Yeah, that's the only
you weren't
college I've got.
enrolled.
Yeah.
You weren't enrolled in the college. You were just.
Yeah, just
That's
hanging
awesome.
out in dorms,
That's
got to know the
awesome.
people, and then of course they know what I did, so it was a matter
Wow.
of making money and hanging out and partying. So yeah, and then
That's
eventually security come
dope.
on. They're like, "Yeah, don't come back."
So a lot of your friends, a lot of the people, a lot of your people you associate with are in probably the same kind of field, or if some type fertilizer and or plant.
I wish they were. I'd have somebody to talk to because they're
Really?
not. Yeah, there's some definite growers, houseplant people I know and gardeners. But as far as like cannabis, I have some friends that do it. There was a guy that lives nearby I worked with who grew, and we worked on some breeding together. Just a couple things for him, something he wanted to do. So we put a little program and found some things that he wanted, and then we did those. But yeah, not really. I mean, I have a couple other people I met that are into it, but they're not into it like that. They want to grow a
Wow.
few plants and do their thing.
It's like that round here too. It's they're few and far between.
Yeah,
You
that's
like,
why we're here. That's why we're here. Get
yeah,
to
it's
meet other people here.
it's like we're really spaced out. Like it's like space. The growers are spaced out. You
Yeah.
think there'd be more locally where maybe there are. They just want to keep it on the low key. But hold on. Do you know what's like amazing about you, Defiant? You don't really you've tried weed, you smoked here and there, and like you enjoy it, and you just see it, the effects, but you don't grow to smoke it. Like you just have a fascination naturally with the plant, and it's more than just. It's not like you're growing it and doing your experiments on the plant to make money or nothing. You're actually documenting things to make the plant better, the strains better.
Right.
That's I don't think that's a different type of dedication and passion. It's not about
Yeah,
the high.
it's a
It's
fun
all
hobby.
about the high for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had my day in the younger days, of like definitely
Every day.
smoke just as
Dude,
much as anybody else, right? And I've
yeah.
done a lot more than I probably should have in other things. And now I don't go back to that anymore. So
Back in the day, bro, I never thought that would you ever thought that you would be here
no,
influencing this community?
no,
You're a staple in the Instagram community. It's where I met
that's
you.
strange. Yeah, it's strange. It's strange to pop into these lives like other people too. They see it themselves. I'm saying hi to them. They're like, hey, all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, you're like a rock star, but you're very humble. You can tell
It's
your
strange.
spirit.
It's
You
strange.
deserve all this recognition because the things that you're doing, your strings are solid, bro. I still got them, and I'm gonna keep them in my regime and keep growing because what they do for my mom smokes a little bit of your BC pungent, and she said it's very sweet and it knocks her out. It makes her. She's an older person. She don't smoke too much, but when she does, she's that help.
Well,
The
good. That's
I
awesome.
don't know what I don't know what it was. I always thought maybe Granddaddy Purple would help with the pain, but the Bible, I'll just out of nowhere, I just grabbed some and told my sister and her to try it. Mom didn't smoke a lot of it. Sister smoked blunts of it and got ripped. She's like, that was some of the best shit that you brought. I was like, I
Awesome.
told you. I told you. I don't know what you're doing, Defiant, but you are definitely. Ganix is in the building. Uh, Wool and everybody. So shout out for you guys for being here. We are talking to the Defiant Seed himself. Now, the things that the qualities that you're looking for, and what does a nice male plant look like to you? What?
That depends on your goal. It's the same as any of your any of your uh, whatever you're trying to achieve, right? Your main
Mhm.
goal. So just lately, I went through 5 males, and really what I want to look for is a short squat male, and that has flower stretch, but stays short squat for the most part. And really, I want that to focus for the tents because this has been picking up, and people have been, growing this. Thank you guys, growing a lot of my
What? Thank
seeds.
you, Defiant. You're too
So
you're humble.
I'm gonna attempt to keep more of that focus towards growing intent, something you can spread out nice, or scrog really nice, something that has like A, B, C, D, E branching, right? Multiple branch, a lot of tight branching to it.
Yeah, just
Nothing
stuff
that's
is
too
tight.
sparse. And want it to pack on, right? You want to keep that pack.
Yeah.
Um, and that depends on growing, how you're going to grow it. But I want it to fit some of those bills. So I would look, that's what I'm doing now, is looking for that male that has that. And I've shown that with the internode stacking, right? With the branches I was looking at in that last plant I cut down when I just showed the sticks, right? The
Yeah.
stalks. And you can see that in
Crazy.
them. That's the comparison from 2018, one from 2021, and then that one recent. So they're very consistent, which is good. And so now it's just keeping that short male. It
Mm.
fits the bill. That short male, the mother plant is stretching out in there right now. So I can see that that's what it's going to do. And the crosses it will make will be very similar because they're all already dominant for those traits. So in the male, that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm just looking for that really, and root structure. A lot of people don't look at the
Shut
root,
up, Dr. Falk.
but in
I hear you.
in DWC, that's one good thing. You can pull it out and see if you got a heavy tap root that drives down, or you have roots that spread out.
Mm.
And for DWC or anything, but DWC, it's going to be better short and same in small containers, that you have a spread of roots and a lot of roots that spread out throughout. So that's what I'm also looking for.
You, we are talking to the man himself, guys. Hold on. Good Life 585. I think that's near me. He's like, what's the name of the brand, if you don't mind me asking? I don't really know what you're talking about. Defiant Seed? The Defiant Seed is his brand, the guest's brand. And we're talking about his strains, his cannabis strains. You should get with him if you're watching. But
Yeah,
if
like
you elaborate a
I
little bit
don't I
more.
don't know if they like with names. I don't have any names. Like I said, all this seed stock came from breeding programs,
Yeah.
and a lot of it, a good majority were landrace or heirloom, or even seeds we don't
Yeah.
know what it was, right? So there's no names to it. It's
Were your
just what we
intentions
created.
were,
What's that?
were your intentions when you first were looking for the seeds to start the Oaxacan line? Were your intentions to get an older heirloom
Yeah,
seed? That's
yeah.
what you
To
wanted?
find as many of the oldest genetics and get the a background, something that isn't already bred, crossbred, or hybrid, right? That way, it's the purest we could find, so we could work with it at the time. You know.
I gotcha. I was referring to if I was interested in getting his product in the shop. What shop? I think the 585 is Rochester. That's near me. So I think he's close to me. You're gonna have to talk to the man about that. He's a businessman. Hit his inbox. He's very I don't GI Genetics, thank you for following. How would we go about that? I don't know. You gotta talk to him.
Uh,
You gotta talk with him. I got you,
yeah.
bro.
So one,
Good
like,
life.
I am not. I really am not a legal. We know this. I'm not legal. I'm not a seed bank. I'm just
Yeah.
sharing what I do. In fact, I don't really sell the seeds. People donate to me sometimes, and we'll get them.
Yeah.
Or if you really people that help me out are the ones that like buy the bong, right?
Oh,
They buy the bong. Well, bong comes with free seeds, so that's you buy something, seeds come with it. So
yeah.
that's how I'll do that, right? So
Get his stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Support him.
I don't
Support
mind
him.
sharing. If you're in my neighborhood, you're in Oregon sometime, and I will come and hand you some free. You
I
want to
had
meet
no idea
somewhere, I'll
you were
go.
moving.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing at all. So sharing's
Yeah,
not a
he's
big deal for
dope.
me. As
Oh,
far as like putting them in a shop and business, that would be cool. But I don't have the nothing's legal, so I
yeah.
would have to file for all that, and I'm
I
not doing
can't
that
deal
again.
with it. It's got to be hard running a business. They are all in your business. The government's all in your
Yeah.
business. Shut up, Flower Child. Is it worth it? Do you feel running a business, having so much
Yeah, I
looking
mean,
over you on you?
again, those come to goals. If it's a dream of yours, you got to do it. You got to try it. You got to take that chance and do it. You don't know. Let's
I think
try.
right. If you can deal with that, I wish they give you guys some slack. Like I really wish the government really give you guys some
I
slack.
think where a lot of, we see it a lot. Things are changing, but we see it a lot with larger companies. It becomes too monetized. Everything becomes monetized, and then it just becomes a numbers game. I
That's
mean,
right.
even I had mentioned that, right? Everything's a numbers game, but uh, definitely things are improving. But I would like to see companies focus more on craft,
Thank you.
true craft breeders. I mean, not that there aren't some out there, but I would rather see small batch craft breeders. That was our problem too. Is you know they're like, well, this is what we pay for this amount, and then we expect this at the end of each week.
Yeah,
It's like we're barely making that a month. We're not going to be able to
they,
keep up with those numbers, right? So
they're
it's like,
doing
okay,
too
do we
much.
expand? And then, but it was that whole thing. It's like life took us a different direction, so we just didn't bother expanding to meet those quotas.
They
But
never came back into
it's
that
if
area.
it's if you want to make it your dream, there's nothing wrong with it. You know.
I know that's right. You guys, we're talking to the man himself. We've been on here for like a good hour, guys. But it's been magnificent. I don't even really want to end this without saying, in about five. First off, what is your? Got two questions. What is your? What do you like to smoke? Indica or sativa more? Is it indica you like?
No, I would rather have a sativa. I love the
I know
clarity.
it.
Yeah, I love the clarity. I love thoughtfulness. I I don't like couch talk. I get lazy. I don't
Yeah,
drink.
there's some weed that actually
I
like
don't
sucks the
I don't
energy
mind
out of
mellow,
you.
but I am all about that trippy high. I love that that rush. I love that. It's hard to find
That
too. You know, there's not a lot of true sativas around anymore
I
that
hear
give you
that.
that. Yeah, it's hard to find, and hopefully more people will go
Tough to
back to that, even
frog.
though they take longer to flower or may not fully flower.
Oh
Hopefully,
come
we
on,
see more of that come out.
isn't it? Isn't it? I've grown some Lindica leaning strains, not full or nothing like that, but man, I'm telling you, I love it. I like that. I can't. There's some weed that actually sucks the energy right out of me. I mean, you get weak.
Yep.
I don't know what that is. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That laziness. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. It's
No,
like
man.
I would
No.
get up and go over there and make me a sandwich, but I don't feel like it.
Yeah, dude,
So
you
I'll
can't
just sit
even.
here and veg. Yeah, that's not me. I can't. I don't like doing that.
Man, this absolutely crazy, dude. Shout out to everybody in here. We are in here with Defiant Seed. You guys make sure you check his merch out. In 5 years, Mr. Defiant, where would you like to see your brand?
Wow. I don't know.
Where,
Uh,
yeah, you're
I
a
have
big
no
deal.
idea. Like I
You're a
said,
big deal.
the idea behind it is so people don't forget, that the seed, it's about to plant
Yeah.
people. So yeah.
If you go with that, man, go with love.
So it's
The,
it's gonna go where it goes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it.
what are the Oregon laws out there? I have no
So I haven't kept
idea
up
you're in
on them,
Oregon.
but I don't think they've changed much. I think you're
Is it
allowed 6 plants.
first
Um,
legal?
yeah, it's legal. Oh yeah, yeah. It was one of the first states. I think it was what, second state or
How
something like
far are
that.
you?
But
You're way. Oregon is pretty far from New York, ain't it?
yeah, you're on the other side over there. Right now, it's what's going on 3 o'clock or whatever time it is.
What?
Yeah, you're at like 5 or 6 right
It's
now, right?
6 o'clock right now, man. And
Yeah.
they're timing us out, Defiant. Listen, plug the man in. Go watch his stuff. I don't want them to cut it off and ruin the interview. I want to save it. Defiant, I appreciate everything that you've ever done for me, dude. I will keep your name alive on the Canna Brothers podcast
Thank
every
you.
post. I promise. And I will keep your seeds in that flower tent and in that veg tent. We got, what did we just plant? The BC Pungents. I got like 4 of those. And I got 2 more popped up. I can't stop. I'm sorry. I can't stop. It's an
Keep
addiction.
dropping.
But we
Yeah,
will
my
get you
hope is
back
too
on
that
here soon.
other people work with them, like especially the Oaxacan. It's pretty much an open game right there. Just anybody. I don't mind. Yeah, I could hang on to it and ask money
Yeah.
for or whatever. That's not me. When I was going to do this program and sprout it, I looked for somebody that had Oaxacan, and there's some very famous people out there that have this, and they would not let go of it. They wouldn't help me out. So I'm like, all right.
I've never
But
heard it. I've only heard it from you. We will,
so, you know, definitely, I'm happy to share it. I want it to be shared. So that's the whole
you
thing. Take
guys
it.
hit him up. Just grow the man's genetics. Okay? You guys just check him out. We're gonna do this again, Defiant. I got a juicy interview right now with you, dude. Get ready to see 40 reels of you. We're back. Later, homie.
Yep.
It's
Have a good one.
very
Thanks
good
for having me,
talking to
man.
you. Yes, peace.